Trump's defense strategy just collapsed. His star witness, the cornerstone of his entire legal strategy, has flipped to the prosecution. This isn't some peripheral figure. This witness sat in every critical meeting, holds documents the defense believed were destroyed, and has agreed to testify under oath about all of it. When your star witness becomes the prosecution's most powerful weapon, your legal strategy isn't just damaged, it's obliterated. So what triggered this betrayal? Sources inside the Manhattan District Attorney's Office say the witness faced evidence of their own criminal exposure. Potential decades in federal prison versus full immunity for truthful testimony. The choice was survival. And here's what makes it catastrophic. This witness has recordings, encrypted messages, and financial documents Trump's team thought were gone months ago. The chaos inside Trump's legal camp is unprecedented. Emergency meetings every hour, lawyers screaming at each other. At least 2 senior attorneys are preparing to withdraw entirely. When seasoned defense lawyers with decades of experience start jumping ship, the situation is beyond salvage. One attorney with direct knowledge told reporters the mood inside Trump Tower is pure panic mixed with rage. They're not just worried about losing anymore. They're terrified of what this witness knows and what evidence is coming. Here's what makes this flip devastating. For 18 months, this witness was integral to Trump's defense. They were supposed to testify that all allegedly illegal activities happened without Trump's knowledge or consent, that they acted independently, shielding Trump from criminal liability. Instead, they're now prepared to testify that Trump personally directed every action, reviewed every document, and approved every payment. The complete reversal gives prosecutors exactly what they need for conviction on all counts. Let me show you how we got here. For months, Trump's legal team built everything around this witness's anticipated testimony. They filed motions based on it, made public statements relying on it, even rejected plea negotiations because they were confident this witness would create a reasonable doubt. Sources say they put all their eggs in one basket, believing this person's loyalty was unshakable. After all, they'd been with Trump over a decade, through multiple controversies, always staying silent. Everything changed on January 8th. Prosecutors executed a surprise search warrant at the witness's home. What they found shocked even seasoned investigators. Financial records showing millions in undisclosed payments, encrypted communications detailing the conspiracy, and most damning, audio recordings of Trump himself discussing the illegal scheme in explicit detail. The witness was questioned that same day. By January 9th, they'd agreed to full cooperation in exchange for immunity. The timeline tells the story. January 7th. Trump's lawyers confidently told reporters their defense was rock solid. January 10th. Full crisis mode. Cancelled interviews. No comment on the case. Sources inside the prosecution say the witness has already provided over 40 hours of grand jury testimony, with more sessions scheduled this week. They've turned over approximately 3,000 documents and 17 audio recordings. The evidence is so overwhelming, prosecutors are considering additional charges they hadn't previously pursued, and it gets worse. The witness isn't just testifying about crimes Trump is already charged with, they're revealing an entirely new set of criminal activities prosecutors didn't even know existed. Additional financial crimes, obstruction of justice, potential violations of federal election law. One prosecutor, speaking anonymously, called it Christmas morning for the prosecution team. The legal implications are staggering. Criminal defense attorney Sarah Chen, who's been following the case closely, put it bluntly. This is the worst possible scenario for any defendant. When your star witness flips, they don't just take away your best evidence. They weaponize your entire defense strategy against you. Every argument Trump's team prepared, every document they planned to introduce, every narrative they constructed, all worthless now. Worse than worthless, because the prosecution knows exactly what they were planning and can prepare devastating counters to every move. Former federal prosecutor Michael Torres says witness flips of this magnitude are incredibly rare. He's seen maybe 3 in a 30-year career. The damage isn't just evidential, it's psychological. Trump's legal team must rebuild their entire strategy from scratch, while knowing the prosecution has inside knowledge of everything they originally planned. It's poker when your opponent sees all your cards. Beyond the legal catastrophe, this betrayal cuts deep personally. Sources close to Trump say he's alternating between volcanic rage and stunned disbelief. This witness was someone he trusted implicitly, someone who knew his deepest secrets and was paid handsomely to keep them. One source described Trump during a meeting with lawyers as absolutely volcanic, throwing documents, screaming about loyalty, demanding they find a way to block the testimony. Legally, there's nothing they can do. The witness protection measures tell you everything about how seriously prosecutors are taking this. The witness has been relocated to a secure location, federal marshals providing round-the-clock protection, all communications monitored and controlled. This isn't standard procedure for white-collar crime. This is protection typically reserved for witnesses testifying against organized crime figures. What's particularly damaging is the witness's credibility. This isn't some low-level employee saving their own skin. This is someone from Trump's inner circle for over a decade, someone who attended family events, trusted with the most sensitive information. Prosecutors are thrilled not just with the evidence, but with how this witness will present to a jury. Articulate, detailed, with documentary evidence backing every claim. A prosecutor's dream witness. The recordings are the most damaging evidence. Sources who've heard them describe Trump's voice clearly directing illegal activities, discussing how to hide evidence, even joking about getting away with crimes. One recording allegedly captures Trump saying, "The key is making sure there's no paper trail back to me. You handle it, but I never touched it. Understand?" Another reportedly has him discussing specific dollar amounts for illegal payments and exactly how to structure them to avoid detection. These aren't ambiguous statements defense lawyers can explain away. They're smoking guns. Trump's remaining legal team is desperately challenging the admissibility of this evidence, but legal experts say they're fighting a losing battle. The witness had legal authority to make these recordings under state law. Documents were obtained through proper channels, and the immunity agreement ensures the witness has every incentive to tell the complete truth. Former prosecutor Janet Williams explained that these cooperation agreements are ironclad. If the witness lies or holds back information, they lose immunity and face prosecution themselves. Here's what sources inside the courthouse are saying. The prosecution team has completely transformed. Where there was cautious optimism, there's now absolute confidence. They're not planning to win anymore. They're planning for swift, decisive victory. Meanwhile, Trump's legal team is in complete disarray, fighting among themselves about strategy, pointing fingers about who vouched for this witness, scrambling to find any defense that might still work. One lawyer was overheard saying, We might as well be defending with no evidence at all. And it gets worse. The witness flip has triggered what prosecutors call a Cooperation Cascade. 3 other potential witnesses who previously refused to testify are now reconsidering. They're seeing that cooperation is possible, protection is available, and holding out for Trump might mean destroying their own lives. Prosecutors are in negotiations with at least 2 other key figures who've indicated willingness to testify in exchange for leniency. The investigation that seemed stalled is now moving at breakneck speed. The financial evidence is particularly compelling. The witness provided bank records, wire transfer confirmations, and accounting documents that trace illegal payments down to the penny. They've explained code words used in communications, identified shell companies, and revealed hidden accounts. One forensic accountant working with prosecutors called it the most complete financial crime documentation I've ever seen. Every transaction is documented. Every decision explained. Every attempt to hide the money revealed. The political ramifications are spiraling outward. Republican lawmakers who previously defended Trump are suddenly silent. Those facing re-election are desperately trying to distance themselves without angering Trump's base. Senator James Morrison, who last week called the prosecution a witch hunt, refused comment when asked about the witness flip. His spokesperson would only say the senator is monitoring the situation closely. Inside Trump's political operation, there's growing concern about how this affects everything. Campaign strategies built on fighting the deep state suddenly look foolish when Trump's own trusted ally is providing evidence. Fundraising emails claiming Trump is an innocent victim ring hollow when his inner circle is testifying against him. One Republican strategist, speaking anonymously, admitted they're in complete crisis mode, trying to figure out messaging that acknowledges reality while keeping the base engaged. The timeline pressure is intense. With the witness now cooperating fully, prosecutors are moving to accelerate the trial date. They want to strike while the evidence is fresh and the witness's memory is sharp. Trump's team is desperately seeking delays, but judges are increasingly unsympathetic to their stalling tactics. Legal observers expect the trial could begin as early as March, much sooner than the defense anticipated or prepared for. Here's where it becomes an absolute nightmare. This witness knows about more than just the charged crimes. They know about other potential criminal activities, other co-conspirators, other investigations that might spring from this cooperation. Federal prosecutors from multiple districts are reportedly interested in debriefing this witness. What starts as one state prosecution could mushroom into multiple federal cases. The witness's lawyer confirmed they're cooperating with all relevant authorities, a phrase that sends chills down the spines of Trump's legal team. And here's the kicker nobody saw coming. The witness has evidence about attempts to obstruct justice after the investigation began. Text messages discussing destroying evidence. Conversations about coordinating false testimony. Even discussions about potential witness intimidation. These aren't just new crimes. They're crimes showing consciousness of guilt for the original charges. Prosecutors love obstruction evidence because it demonstrates the defendant knew they were guilty and tried to cover it up. It's devastating for any defense based on claims of innocence. The emergency meetings inside Trump Tower are reportedly chaotic beyond description. Lawyers shouting over each other. Trump is demanding impossible solutions. Staff members quietly update resumes. One source described it as watching the Titanic sink in real time. They know they've lost their best defense, probably the case, but they have to keep fighting because the client demands it. Several junior attorneys have already quietly begun looking for new jobs. What's even more devastating is the witnesses' knowledge of Trump's business operations beyond the criminal charges. They've been privy to tax strategies, foreign dealings, financial maneuvers that could trigger entirely new investigations. The IRS is reportedly very interested. The Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network has requested access to the witnesses' testimony. Even the SEC is investigating potential securities violations. This one flip could cascade into a legal avalanche that buries Trump's entire business empire. The ripple effects are hitting Trump's family members too. The witness worked closely with several Trump children and knows about their involvement in various business aspects. While prosecutors haven't indicated they're targeting family members yet, the witnesses on testimony could change that calculation quickly. Sources say Trump is particularly enraged about this aspect, viewing it as the ultimate betrayal that his trusted confidant would potentially implicate his children. The family's legal teams are now scrambling to understand their exposure based on what this witness might reveal. The prosecution strategy has shifted dramatically. They're no longer building a circumstantial case hoping to convince a jury. They now have direct evidence, eyewitness testimony, and documentary proof of every element of every crime. They're selecting which charges to prioritize based on having too much evidence, a luxury prosecutors rarely enjoy. The witness has provided such detailed information that prosecutors are creating visual aids showing exactly how the criminal enterprise operated. Trump's public response has been predictably volatile, but notably desperate. His social media posts have gone from confident dismissal to increasingly unhinged attacks on the witness. He's called them a rat, a liar, a traitor. Legal experts point out these attacks could constitute witness intimidation, potentially adding more criminal charges. His lawyers are reportedly begging him to stop posting, but Trump believes his only hope is rallying public opinion. The posts are becoming evidence themselves, showing consciousness of guilt and attempting to influence potential jurors. What's fascinating is watching Trump's remaining allies distance themselves in real time. Television appearances canceled. Supportive statements increasingly qualified. Even his most loyal defenders are hedging their bets. They know that when the star witness testifies with evidence backing every claim, the court of public opinion will shift dramatically. Being on the wrong side of that shift could end political careers. The calculation is changing from how do we defend Trump to how do we survive Trump's downfall. The witnesses' safety concerns are escalating. Prosecutors have received what they term credible threats against the witness and their family. Security measures have been increased. The FBI is investigating the source of the threats. The witness is reportedly resolute, understanding the gravity of their decision but committed to telling the truth. Their attorney says they're sleeping better, knowing they're doing the right thing. And here's something just breaking. The witness has revealed the existence of a second set of books Trump maintained for his businesses. Not just official books shown to banks and tax authorities, but a parallel set showing the real numbers. This is explosive because it proves intent to deceive from the very beginning. Not accounting errors or aggressive interpretations, systematic fraud with documentation to prove it. Prosecutors are calling this the golden evidence that removes any possible defense of ignorance or mistake. The international implications are emerging too. The witness has knowledge of Trump's foreign business dealings. including some that may have violated sanctions or involved money laundering. The Department of Justice's National Security Division has joined the investigation. Foreign governments are making inquiries about potential crimes in their jurisdictions. What started as a New York State case could become a global legal nightmare. Banks in several countries are already freezing accounts and reviewing their exposure. Sources close to the prosecution reveal another shocking detail. The witness has emails where Trump explicitly discussed creating false invoices to hide the true nature of payments. Not vague references or coded language, clear instructions on how to commit fraud, complete with specific amounts and fake descriptions for services never rendered. One email allegedly shows Trump writing, "Make it look like legal fees. No one questions lawyer bills." This kind of direct evidence of criminal intent is extraordinarily rare in white-collar prosecutions. The pressure on Trump's remaining inner circle is becoming unbearable. Several key figures who haven't been charged yet are reportedly consulting with their own criminal defense attorneys, weighing whether to proactively approach prosecutors with cooperation offers before they're indicted. The witness flip has shown them that loyalty to Trump offers no protection when criminal charges loom. One source familiar with these discussions said at least 4 other potential defendants are seriously considering their options. More witnesses considering cooperation, more evidence being discovered, more charges being contemplated. What looked like a difficult but manageable legal problem has transformed into an existential threat to Trump's freedom. When your star witness becomes the prosecution's star witness, when they bring receipts for every crime, when they're backed by recordings and documents, there's no defense strategy that can save you. Here's what's happening right now as we speak. Prosecutors are preparing what they call their shock and awe presentation for the jury. The witness is reviewing thousands of documents to ensure their testimony is accurate and complete. Trump's legal team is frantically searching for any defense that might create reasonable doubt. And behind the scenes, negotiations are happening about potential plea deals that would have been unthinkable just a week ago. This isn't just another legal setback Trump can spin or delay his way out of. This is a catastrophic collapse of his entire defense strategy. The person he trusted most, who knew the most, who was supposed to save him, has instead become his downfall. The evidence they're providing is so comprehensive, so damning, and so well documented that conviction seems not just likely, but inevitable. The only question now is how many others will flip to save themselves, and how many additional crimes will be revealed in the process. The constitutional implications are staggering. We're watching the legal system work exactly as designed, where even the most powerful face accountability when evidence of crimes emerges. No amount of money, influence, or political power can overcome direct evidence and credible witness testimony. The witness's courage in coming forward, despite obvious risks, demonstrates that truth and justice can still prevail. This is what the rule of law looks like in action. What happens next will reshape American legal and political history. The trial will be must-watch as the witness takes the stand and reveals everything they know. Trump's reaction will test the limits of our legal system's ability to maintain order and protect witnesses. The jury will face the weight of history as they evaluate evidence that appears overwhelming. And the American people will witness whether anyone, regardless of position or power, is truly above the law. The latest development is perhaps the most shocking yet. The witness has provided evidence of a meeting where Trump explicitly discussed what would happen if they were caught. According to sources, there's a recording of Trump saying, "If this ever comes out, you take the fall. I'll pardon you if I have to, but you never mention my name. This destroys any claim that he wasn't aware of the criminal nature of their actions. It shows premeditation, conspiracy, and an attempt to obstruct justice using presidential powers. The stakes have never been higher. The evidence has never been more damning. The collapse of Trump's defense has never been more complete. We are watching history unfold in real time. What began as a strategy built on loyalty and silence has turned into chaos and cooperation. The star witness has flipped. The evidence is overwhelming. The game is over. The only question now is how spectacular the final collapse will be. This isn't just another scandal or legal headache. It's the total unraveling of a defense that days ago seemed untouchable. When your star witness flips, when prosecutors hold recordings and documents backing every word, there is no path to victory. Only damage control remains, and even that may be impossible. History is watching, and tonight, it's all coming into focus. If you want to stay informed on these breaking political developments, like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to George Will Unfiltered for in-depth analysis and updates you won't get anywhere else.